Salam alaikum alaikum salam. This is Tada Matamba. I'm continuing the video on conversations with the dead. Um, I'm doing the Lembasenso method, the binary code, the power to see the binary code, and the Dikenga or the code is Masa. The Lembasenso Dikenga is Masa. A little bit down. So before we start, I want to go ahead and get this out the way to you, George, specifically, and anybody else who's seen. You have to understand that when you're conversating con muerto, right, with your Nkisi, when you're conversating with your Nkisi through the Chamalongo, and you're using the methods that the book has given you, the knowledge to do so, you have to understand that you have to see from what perspective the conversation is going. In other words, let me give you an example. If I'm doing a conversation con mi muerto, right, and I ask him a simple yes or no question about something, and this comes out, this sign comes out, it doesn't go as deep as in a consultation. So if this side comes out in a consultation, it might go a lot more deeper. And then also what varies is if the person you're doing the consultation for is a man, a woman, and their age. So all these factors you have to take into account. And excuse me. And two, these are our directions, to point you in the direction of what's truly happening, right? But the spirit's gonna complete it, you're going to be able to hear it, or I feel it, like I just know, like I can tell, like I just feel it. I don't know how to explain it. Through your mediumship, or your psychic abilities, you're going to be able to communicate. That's gonna finish that little that little touch. Your Nkisi will finish that off for you. Obviously, the Chamalonga is gonna help your Nkisi transmit that idea a lot faster. So now that we got that out the way, we can go ahead and start at least with Masa. And I'm gonna give you an example in a consultation, like the way that I see it, So Masa, right? Positive or negative, it states positive. You can clearly see it there, positive. There's no positive nor negative. In a consultation, that does not exist. There's positive and negatives to each sign, It's just not positive. But in generally, this sign speaks more positive due to what it represents, But just keep in mind, I'm gonna speak the positive and the negative of the sign. Force of nature, right? It says water, right? This sign represents life, feminine energy, motherhood, water, and specifically Kalunga, right? Spiritual, right here it says Kalunga, Lucero Cholawenge, but it's Kalunga, right? For us infumos, right? For us chiefs, for us that are elders, that have a kanda, that have a munansu already, for us higher ranking already in the religion, we understand the value of Kalunga in nature, in our belief system, or in our practice of Malongo, right? Due to certain concepts, certain beliefs, certain stories. I can't go in too deep with that. Each lineage has their knowledge, and I say you should ask your godfather more about Kalunga. But Kalunga, I am gonna go just a little deep. I'm gonna say Kalunga was tasked to create, right? To create this physical world, and she's the thresholds between the physical world and the spiritual world, right? So she was tasked by God to create the physical world and everything in it, and she's the thresholds between the physical world and the spiritual world. I'm not gonna get into deep and everything and all of that. I can't. That's up for your lineage and your godfather. But this is, you know, this deity's sign, right? Or this force of nature's sign. This force of nature speaks through this sign, which is Kalunga, the water, and specifically the ocean, right? The sea. And the ocean, right, is deep, right? You can see the surface of it, but you don't know what lies down at the bottom. You go to the beach, you see the surface, you see the waves, but you don't know what lies down there in the bottom, and truly nobody knows. So in the consultation, you know, if it's a woman or a man or what's going on, you already know that there's more than what meets the eye here. Let's get into the water part, right? You know, us Ngangas, right? Us specialists, right? We observe nature, and nature teaches us, gives us lessons, gives us a way of life, give us the power to heal, and give us the power to curse also. But we have to observe nature. And we observe it and we extract knowledge from it. And as we observe water and its states and its effects in nature, we can learn. We can learn from it, right? And water teaches us to have humility, to be humble. Due to it being a fluid, right? It flows to the lowest point of vicinity. In other words, water teaches us or tells us, right, not to be prideful, egotistical, not to have vanity. So if the person, right, you're doing a consultation, you should tell the person not to be in these ways, you know. If the person has these qualities in their character, they're going to be living a more negative life, a more negative sign. And there's no matter how much inside of you do, that's not going to change the person's problems, because themselves are digging themselves in a hole. Right? They're opening the hole and putting themselves in it. So they first have to change their character. So most of the time, the people have pretty good characters on this sign, because we'll get into that a little bit later. But you can learn that just from that. As water moves through its cycles, right? Because here it speaks of cycles also. Because Kalunga created, you know, this world in the cycles of life. And there's a cycle of water, and then there's cycles of life also. Like, you know, you're born, you grow, and you die, and there's a cycle to everything. So, you know, as water moves through its own cycle, everything that it touches, right, it nurtures, and it moves on without being recognized or given recognition for giving life. So we can learn from this by to have it teaches us to have unconditional kindness, to give without expecting something in return. Also, water has, right, the ability to reflect when it's calm and undisturbed, right? Here, water teaches us to have peace, clarity, right, in our minds, and also to speak with integrity, to speak the truth, because you can see the reflection, right, to see things clearly. Um, Another thing, right? Everyone benefits from water, right? Regarding who they are, because water doesn't pass judgment. And we can learn from this by applying this to our life and treating everybody with the same level of respect and courtesy. Um, Water also teaches us to have patience. It also teaches us to have patience, letting us know that everything comes within time. Due to, I just thought of this. Right now is the summertime, right? So in the winter, right, the winter snow will not fall in the summer because it's not the right seasons. So water teaches us that you have to be patient. Everything will come due to time. And these are just some things with water. But this sign, right, Masa, when this sign comes out, from my experience, 100% of the time, excuse me, the person is a medium, is a psychic, is an empath, is sensible to the spiritual realm, and we're speaking about the ocean, right? And we can observe the ocean, just like we said. The ocean is vast, right? You can see the surface, but nobody knows what lies all the way at the bottom down there. The same thing comes to this person I just said. Down there, right down at the bottom of the ocean, there's sunken ships, and the same thing can be, these same characteristics. You can take it to the person in the consultation. There's more than what meets the eye here. They have psychic abilities and all these things, but there's trauma deep down inside. And here, right, is caused by anxiety. From my experience, from this sign coming out during consultation, most of the people that have this sign have anxiety. They really do. And if it's a female, we're speaking more about towards a female. She has anxiety, and it can be due to an unbalanced way of life, in the sense of the spiritual realm and the physical realm. Because it speaks of that. She should tend more to her spirits, because if not, she's gonna live an unbalanced life. But just know that anxiety here also takes place. Obviously, something positive that we can add on to the depth of the ocean, right? So if you're looking at the person, you know that the person has depth to them, but also deep down in the ocean, there's treasures. There's treasure, there's richness, right? And it's a strange world down there, but there's richness. And this person, if you become their friends, right? Or if this is your mother, or you meet their character, right? You get to analyze their character. You might find treasures, right, in them. You might see great positive things in these people. So that's another thing you can keep in account. But just know, most of the time in consultations, in a consultation, una consulta, I see the spirit will bring out the anxiety part. Let me know, hey, person suffering from anxiety or depression, due to an unbalanced practice with their spirits. Now, if they're initiated, that's a whole other story. We'll get into that a little bit later. So that's the water, right? Health. Okay. Before I get into health, I want to state that I am not a doctor, right? I'm not a licensed doctor. If you have any of these sickness, right, that I'm about to name, I say you should actually go to a doctor and follow what the doctors claim for you to do. So health. Pulmonary edema, diabetes, and leukemia. I said anxiety, right? the problem here, right? We're speaking about, because you got to grasp the picture. Let me try to transmit it so you can understand the picture. Masa, right? The water. It has a cycle. Kalunga created this cycle. This person, if most of the time it speaks of a woman, feminine energy, and she's a woman, she goes through these cycles. There also motherhood speaks here. So yeah, that's another thing we're gonna speak about. But she goes through these cycles. This person, due to the anxiety that she has, right? Due to past traumas, or she's just born with it like this, right? Um, she might be a habitual, right? Here speaks of this person cannot have vices, habits, addictions, habitually does things like smoke cigarettes, um, has vices and a lot of bad habits and addiction. It can be alcoholism, or it can be an alcoholic. Um, and all of this is caused by the anxiety that this person's having. Um, like pulmonary edema is caused by congestive heart failure. And oh yeah, let me look at this, because if I'm just speaking, I gotta look at this. Beware of drowning, suffocation. You see, pulmonary edema, suffocations. A person can have that, but most of the time, pulmonary edema is caused by congestive heart failure, and that's another sign. It also speaks of that. And congestive heart failure is caused by, can be caused by anxiety, you know, the ups and downs and the blood pressure, those spikes of the heart being overworked. So you see, it starts from anxiety to heart issues to pulmonary edema, lung issues. So, but the base of this is anxiety, and you can, right? Suffocation speaks here. Health, right? Diabetes, right? If the person um, doesn't have it already from birth, right? And their genetics, the diabetes, that trait, that they're more prone to it, they can be the first also to have it due to anxiety, because they're habitual. They're going to eat out of anxiety. They're gonna have those. They eat just because of anxiety. They grab chips, potato chips, candies, all types of things because they're anxious, and they just eat to eat. So that's another, you know, habit or addiction, or those vices, those habitual decisions, those habitual cycles that, you know, can be caused by anxiety and their health issues, and leukemia also. There's also two more from experience, that I have had. I don't remember the name. I know it's buildup of fluid in the buttocks due to certain things. I'm gonna speak about that now. I think it was called hematoma, and hematoma and seroma. You, those things can be added on there, if I can remember correctly. Body part, so we can add the body part and the health together, right? It speaks of the vagina and the penis here. Obviously, these are things that create life, and here, just like Kalunga did, created it all. Water is an energy that creates. So all of the body parts here are pretty good. But from my experience, the buttocks should be added on. The buttocks, why? This is old teaching, so I'm gonna go ahead and put it on here also. Old teaching back in the old days. I don't know if they still practice this now, but when a woman used to go in labor, the midwife, right, the woman who help receive the baby, and the doctors used to do this also. When the woman was in labor, and the baby would come out, they'll grab it by the leg and hold it upside down and smack it in the butt, so it can wake up, so it can react to this world, so it could cry. So, and this sign, it speaks of that, you know. It speaks about babies. And let me go ahead and add this in before we tie that up. Let me add this also in there. If you're doing a consultation for a woman, or if you ask if they're able to have children. If a female comes, or a mother comes, or a woman comes about questionings, if they can have children, and this sign comes out, this is a sign of fertility. The woman will have children. Just do your petitions to, do your ensara for Kalunga or Cholawenge, or those Inkisis, whichever Inkisi wants to take care of the job. But most of the time, Cholawenge they'll do jobs with her, and she'll take care of it. But if this sign comes out, it's a guarantee. More than sure the person is fertile. More than sure she's going to be a mother. But yeah, they used to grab the babies, smack them in the butt, so they can react to this world. And that speaks in this sign, the buttocks. So I was speaking about hematoma and seroma to the butt. So here, the buttocks, the person has to take care of their butt. If she's a female and she wants to do any plastic surgeries or any BBLs, any of these things, and this sign comes out, is taboo, because she can suffer hematoma, if I can remember it right. It's seroma, I remember that one, seroma. And she can have complications after the surgery. It can even cost her life. So you, as a godfather, if your goddaughter comes asking for these things and this sign comes out, I don't think she should do it. As long as the Infumba gives you a guarantee everything's gonna be fine, she's good to do it. But the sign comes out, be very beware, because she will have complications. That's what body part, vagina and the penis. Okay, and buttocks, remember that. Prosperity, the person obtains financial stability. Yeah, it's true. Most of the time when this sign has come out in readings for me, the person does obtain financial stability. Most of the time they came and they weren't financially stable. They were living tech to tech, and then this sign came out and they did it inside, and then they obtained their financial stability. They actually did. And it goes pretty well. It went pretty well for the most part. Let me add on this here, prosperity, because I remember you got to be aware with robberies. It's not written here, but here the person it speaks of that robberies, issues, but it speaks more within, now in a family term, like a mother or a husband, the children, divorce. All of these things can play a role, but we're gonna get into it. Remember, the Nkisi, right? Your Mfumbe will let you know exactly what's happening. It's going to let you know exactly what's happening. If you build that relationship with your Nkisi, and you have that communication, an intimate communication with your Nkisi, you have a connection with him. Once you throw, your chamalongos, you have enough experience, you're gonna know what's going on. So you don't have to worry. If you read chapter 1, chapter 2, you'll be fine. So right, we did prosperity. Our relationship. If the person's a female, most of the time she has more than one lover or partner. If the person's a male, he's still in between a love triangle and extramarital affairs. Okay. For female, from experience, and most of the time that is true, that is very true. Her heart, is in between more than one lover. Tell her that this is extremely bad, because she has this sign, and this sign speaks of, she's probably gonna pass away due to her being unfaithful. One of those lovers will kill her, will beat her up really bad, or kill her due to finding her committing an affair. From my experience, this sign came out in one of the readings, and yes, the woman had children with a man, her first husband or boyfriend, and then later on in life she met her husband, And this sign speaks of that she has thought of, or has wanted, or even has done, um, an affair, committed an affair with her ex-husband or ex-partner than the one she's currently with. Obviously, right, you have to take note, if the husband is present in the room while consultation is happening, you should not open your mouth. You got to keep quiet. Here speaks of this, right? The echo of this conversation can be the death of this person. So you have to be very, in other words, the ripples, like the water, the ripples um, of this conversation, of these vibrations, can cause harm to the person or even to you. So you have to be very extremely careful by opening your mouth. Just make sure that, if it's just you and her in the room, and or your godchildren, people that you can trust, it can speak here. But this sign speaks of that also. Secrets between two people are not secrets. So you have to be very careful what's said here to that person. In other words, in the affairs with a woman, if she has a best friend, if she has a daughter, if she has somebody that's close to her, and she did commit an affair in the past with somebody, like during her wedding, or the spirit will let you know what happened. She committed an affair with somebody, and she, one day's drinking, or one day's doing, those vices. She's gonna speak of, that she committed an affair between best friends and all of that. She trusts, and that friend or that person will let the husband know that it's gonna get back to his ears, and things are gonna fall down real fast. She'll lose financial stability. She's gonna lose it all. So even the children, all that's gonna get here. So secrets here. The woman, literally the same way Kalunga is a cemetery, right? She has to take her secrets to the grave. Whatever, like the Titanic is always gonna be down there in the bottom of the sea. All the things that used to be above float, and they were shipwrecks and they went down, that never comes right back up. Exactly the same. She has to die with her traumas and her secrets. She has to take them to the grave. Even if it's a man, this sign comes out, it's the same way. Hey, take your things to the grave. Same for you. If this sign comes out for you, your secrets, take them to the grave. And this comes out, hey, do not speak of your secrets. All of these things speak of that. But more specifically in the trauma part, like doing something that you weren't supposed to do. Family, if the person has children or has sibling, the older child's in danger. Yes, I've seen it. This sign comes out, and the older child can also be raised, right, by his grandmother, his mother's mother, and there could be issues there, right? And even that older brother, or that the oldest sibling, right, or sister, right, can have a different father than the two younger ones. Most of the time, it's 3 children here. The person will have 3 children. That's what I'm saying. If the person's having difficulty having kids, all of a sudden, I don't know, if you do the right petitions and you do the right things, I'm pretty sure you're gonna have like 3 kids. But then Kisi will let you know. So yeah, if the person has children or has siblings, the older child is in danger. That's true. The grandma can raise that older child, and that can bring problems on later on. We'll wrap that up later. Personality, the person can have psychosis, nervous breakdowns, the anxiety right here, you see? Like I was talking about, anxiety, nervous breakdowns. That will cause the diabetes, leukemia, all of these things. So this is a mental health problem, right? Mental health. This is physically happening to you due to your mind. Animals, fish, sharks, and sea urchins. The sea urchin has a role and plays a role, with your feet, and she can have issues with her feet. But You have to beware with all these animals also. They have meanings. Um, Spiritual, Kalunga Lucero Chulawenga, we spoke about that. Spiritual advice, beware of drowning or suffocations, especially if the person goes to the beach, and you can add the urchin, the sharks, all these things play a role into that. But more specifically, now we're gonna go a little bit more in depth. Excuse me, now we're gonna go a little bit more in depth. Cause it gets tough, you know, this sign speaks tough. It speaks positively, but it also in a consultation, when it speaks negative, we're gonna go ahead and say what it's supposed to say. So we're gonna wrap it up all together. It says, beware of drownings or suffocation, especially if the person goes to the beach. Okay. You have to understand, right, George? If you're who's watching this, right? This sign comes out, and if it's a woman and she's there, you already got a vast concept of what this letter carries, right? This woman is sitting here, and the spirit is letting you know, hey, there's more to what meets the eye here. This woman is suffering from anxiety, possibly even depression. This person, or this woman, this mother, because most of the time it's gonna be a mother, because it has happened to me, is suffering from deep depression and guilt. It's inside her. And if you're there, right, and this sign comes out, and it's tough. That's what I'm saying. This is tough. And it comes out, the sign comes out, and the mother's there. You're gonna know, if she lost a child. That spirit's gonna come through. Her child's gonna come through. And you're gonna have to, you're gonna let her know, yeah, I know your son was deceased and he's here. You're gonna let him know he's here, or your daughter was deceased due to the negligence, your negligence. And you blame it on your husband, and most of the time that was her ex-husband's child, so she goes back to her ex-husband and tries to find comfort and builds a stronger relationship. And there's where the affair will come in here, what I was speaking about. And she has that guilt, and she has thought about suicide and killing herself because she doesn't have her children, right? She doesn't have her child, lost a child in the beach, or of drowning, or suffocation. And most of all, if she was there present, that's something to carry, and it could be at the beach, it could be at the home, in the bathtub. In many ways, the spirit will let you know specifically, and you will know because that spirit will come forth. That spirit will come forth and let you know, hey, tell my mom this, and that. Or your Inkisi will let you know, hey, there's another spirit here that's not from here. And, it's his daughter, it's his mom. And if you're a medium enough, you'll be able to sense it. If you have psychic abilities, you'll be able to see them, hear them. At least for me, I just feel it. I just know. And all of us, sometimes you can even see them. In that sense, it can go in that deep. And I have had that experience before, with a mother losing a child, and that was tough. It was tough. This sign speaks about that. Now, if a spirit doesn't come forth, if your Inkisi is telling you, hey, there's the letter's there, she has to beware with her children, the oldest one, or whichever one, the spirit's letting you know to say, they can die from these things, from suffocation, drownings, all of these things. Now, if no child has passed away, right? That hasn't happened. A woman can lose, right? A mother can lose a child many different ways. They can lose a child due to, you know, um, the actual court system, um, like custody of a child. She can lose a child due to the actual court system in prison. She can lose a child due to the streets, the hanging out. She can lose a child due to addictions, you know, all of these drugs and addictions. And, you know, all of this will take place. All of this is happening, you know, in this letter, in this symbol. And you have to think about this. You know, the spirit is going to transmit what's going on. And, you know, this will cause anxiety. This is why it's a motherly sign. Also, right, if she hasn't lost a child and the child is young, the your Inkis is letting them know that she has to be a better mother. You know, she has to be a better mother. She has to guide her children through a better path, because if not, she's going to lose them. She's going to lose them. She's going to lose her children because of her negligence. She wasn't there. She was paying attention to her love affairs and all those things, or prosperity, her job, and it's unbalanced. And later on, she's going to lose her child. In many ways, you can lose them. Hopefully, and I don't wish this upon anybody, right? Hopefully, the ancestors will never want to take a child or give that news, you know, to somebody. Hey, you know, you have to bury your kid this weekend because of this, and this reason. That's very sad. A parent should never have to bury their children. But you can lose your child in many ways, and that might be through your negligence. Um, Another thing is, right, if the person's initiating a la ocha, you know, this crown Yamaya or crown Oshun or crown whichever Orisha, or has the hand of Ifa, and she just came to you because, you know, she needs help, and or somebody recommended her to you, and this sign comes out, and you know she knows about the religion, because most of the time they're mediums and all of this, they know about the religion, and the spirit, you know, that spirit comes forth, that kid comes forth, her child comes forth and speaks. Automatically, you're gonna tell the woman you're losing faith. You blame the orishas, you blame Orula, and if she was, you know, if she was in our religion, you know, in this tradition, African tradition, and she has an Inkisi, you're gonna tell her the same. You're losing faith, or you condemn this religion because you lost your child, and you're gonna let her know it was your fault. It was not the Orisha's fault. It was not this. It was not that. If the Inkisi told you to say that, you know. Because some things are life. Everything's not voodoo or, you know, black magic or any of these things. Everything is not in our control, and also things are just in life. But, you know, your Inkisi will let you know, hey, this is going to happen. You need to move and move fast. And, you know, it could have been her lack of knowledge or the Godfather's lack of knowledge that all of this happened. But she feels, if she comes to you, she's gonna feel like, you know, it was the Orishas, because that also happened to me once. But not necessarily the death of her child, but he fell in prison, right? And the Orishas has nothing to do with it. You know, you let her know, hey, I know you crown Oshun, or you crown Yemaya, and your son, you know, has 27 years to do in prison, and you ask Orisha as this, but hey, if he decides to take the wrong path, that was him. You weren't were you the best mother? And she's gonna sit there and cry, and she's gonna sit there and say, I wasn't the best mother. I was too worried for this, I was too worried for that. And I remember he used to come from school, and the teachers, and I never gave him discipline. No, the teachers used to give me complaints, and I never gave him discipline at all. So here, you know, Kalunga speaks out to these women that do not discipline their kids, that do not, you know, instill morals and codes and values. It's very tough. Very tough. This sign comes out. Now, also, if if it's a male, right, majority of the time, right, that son that I'm speaking about, that can be, he's going to be the one um, giving anxiety and these issues to his mom, right? To Kalunga, to Masa. This sign comes out, I automatically know, um, hey, if the mom comes forth, I'm like, your mom has passed away. He might be in his 20s, his 30s, because that happened to me. He was 28 years old, and I'm like, your mom passed away 4 years ago. It comes out here in this sign. He was like, yes, she did. And he was like, you weren't the best son, weren't you? He's like, oh no. And you can get in there because your Inkisi will let you know. But here it's the son. The son is the one who made the wrong choices, who drove that anxiety to their mom, the one who didn't let her sleep at night, the one that kept her up, smoking that cigarette outside that porch while he was roaming around the streets or in the clubs or doing his things, the one skipping school, all of these things, drive these headaches to our mothers. So this sign also speaks to that. So if it's a man, now it's different. You see what I'm saying? There's a difference, but it ties all together. And he can also, if he has siblings, and a sibling comes forth, hey, that sibling, did he die, suffocate? Did he suffocate? You be like, yeah, how didn't you know I had a sibling who died by being drowned, and all these things is due to the sign. If not, then Kisi lets you be like, hey, he has a sign that he's gonna drown by suffocation. Or it might not, the Nkisi might not tell you that, it might be like his mom died of pulmonary edema, or bronchitis, or whatever issue in the lungs, due to her smoking or her anxiety. But here, he should pay petition to his mom, because this sign, if you're a son and this sign comes out, your mother is gonna always save you from tragedies and help you out in life. And this sign comes out. If he's the man, he's sitting there, this comes out. This truly comes out. And the mother, if she's passed away, she's gonna go above and beyond for her son. And even she might even come out in dreams. She might even have the ability, she might be strong enough as a spirit to come out in dreams to him. And this sign is very deep. It goes in very deep. What else can I speak on this sign? I know there's like 4 things, but I'm not gonna speak about that. That's more personal, more of my Inkisis. And each sign carries different messages. I hope you guys liked the video. I hope you understand a little bit more of the concept, George. And I also want to let you know, as you build your relationship with your Inkisi, you can add on to what's here already. You have you get your own notebook and draw Masa and have his own symbol, and you go drawing as you grow through life. You go putting your things into it, what your Inkisi says. But here's basic. You see, all the stuff I added on is more from experience. When this sign comes out, I already know right off the bat. Plus, I have the connection that I have with my Inkisi. My Inkisi is a Sentei and Doki, and I have my Sentei for a long time already. And that right there is my bread and butter. That's my rock. That's my everything in this world. And we have an extremely intimate and gorgeous and amazing relationship, and extremely serious, and a serious relationship with my Inkisi. That nobody can get in between that. And once you build a relationship like that, it'll be easy to conversate. It'll be easy to understand what that Infuma is transmitting to you, and what's the issue, and you just give the solution. Then they'll guarantee to a certain level. If they guarantee it, you can do it with your eyes closed, and that's it. It's as simple as that. You don't have to be guessing. You don't have to be waiting for the message, meditating, or any of these things. As long as you do what chapter 1, chapter 2 tells you, you'll be fine. You know, you understand those concepts, you'll be fine. You'll build that intimate relationship. Um, that's what I recommend. Yeah. I want to thank you guys. I don't think I'm missing anything else. I'm just trying to remember. I know those 4 things. That's what I have in my mind. I'm not gonna say those things. I said about karma, what you sow, what you reap, all these cycles. It speaks of cycles here. All of that. I said that. I know here also this sign speaks of relationship, like brother fights. If it's a man and he comes out in this sign, it can be that there can be issues between fights between your brothers, between brotherly, like siblings, fights between your siblings, and even in a religious household speaks this sign also. In a negative part. I don't know what else. I'm thinking. I did say kids. The person comes looking for kids here. Eventually, they will have that experience in their life. They will have kids. The woman's will be pregnant, will become a mother, because this sign is motherhood, feminine energy. You're more than lucky as long as you do the right. If you need an insada, you do the insada. You'll have kids. Yeah, that's what I got. If you guys have any questions, you can leave it in the comments, or you can email me at tatamatamba@gmail.com. And thank you guys for your time. Salam alaikum, alaikum salam.